Hi everyone, Karen here. For many of you that follow my channel, you'll know who I am. For those that don't, I'm a teacher of deliberate creation, podcast host of ATP Media, which stands for Accentuate the Positive. And I do many things. I'm not going to go into it. You can go to my website, karenswain.com, and check out my bio if you want to know who I am. Check out my story. But today I wanted to talk about what is Ascension. What do you think Ascension is? I'm sure many of you have your ideas and understandings of what you think Ascension is. I've been talking about Ascension for like 20, 30 years. And the more I think about it, the more I understand what it is. It's been a long journey of ascension. Basically, the word ascension in itself means to rise, to ascend. And so what are we rising to or ascending to? Well, collectively, what we're doing here on planet Earth is we're ascending to a new dominant vibrational frequency here on Earth that will give us globally a completely different human experience. So ascension is moving out of a third dimensional experience, which is an experience that is based in density. What is density? Density is a certain level of vibration. It's dense. It's not as subtle. It's like wading through mud as opposed to wading through water. It's harder. There's more effort involved in density. So we're ascending to a new collective density in our vibrational stance, and we're doing that through our spiritual awakening and taking back our power, or remembering our power to be deliberate in how we create our world, our personal world, and the world at large. So Ascension is all about raising your vibe, and raising your vibe is about thinking and feeling in a new way, or a better way, or a better feeling way. It's feeling lighter, feeling freer, feeling more empowered, feeling like you can be deliberate in creating your world instead of like the world's happening to you and you're a victim to it. You feel like you're in control of how you experience this incredible experience called planet Earth. And spiritual awakenings are creating the ascension. So it's happening now more than ever. We are ascending into a new way. And it's not really about the actions we take. It's more about how we're thinking and feeling that inspires the actions that we take. So for the most part, we've been acting based on how we think and feel. And many of us for so long have felt disempowered, like we can't have everything we want. Some people say, you can't get everything you want. You can't have it all. It's like, it's in our vernacular. It's in our way of thinking and believing in the world. You can't have everything. You've got to pick and choose. You might have good that day, but you're going to get bad that day. We can create and have everything we want when we align with that frequency and energy vibration. So Ascension is moving collectively. We're ascending individually, but because we're all one, when one person ascends, it completely influences those around them and the global population at large. Critical mass, we've discussed it on many shows. We are ascending to a new dominant vibrational stance. When I had an amazing woman on the show, Scarlett Lewis, whose son was killed in one of the mass shootings, school shootings many years ago. Her son was 5 years old, Jesse. And she had this experience where through her grief and through her depression, she reached a point of such surrender, like I've got nothing to fear anymore because my greatest fear has manifested. There was this sense of release and surrender, and she hit this knowing that because she had realized her greatest fear, she had nothing else to fear. And she said to me, for 8 months, she lived in this state of grace where she feared nothing, and she mobilized and she got a lot of things done. Imagine living without fear. What would you do if you lived without fear? Fear of getting it wrong, fear of failure, fear of worrying about what people think of you, fear of survival, fear of illness, fear of death. What would you do with your life if you lived without fear? Well, Scarlett did a lot with her life. She said at around 8 months, she had the fear that she was doing so much with her life that her eldest son, who survived, his younger brother, she might be neglecting him in some way and not being a good mother. Bang! There was that fear-based thought that hit her after 8 months of living without fear-based thinking. And she said that when she realized that she had no more fear, she looked back. It's like having an embodied life review. She looked back on her life and she realized that almost every thought she had was based in some thought of fear. Fear of letting people down, being late, getting angry, getting frustrated, thinking, am I good enough? Am I doing this right? Am I feeding my children right? We have all these thoughts, and most of them are based in some limitation or fear. So Ascension is moving from that experience to an experience of living without that fear. Imagine what the world would look like if every human being that was here on earth lived without having those limiting fear-based thoughts. It's a whole new world, right? It's a whole new world. And even when you have your spiritual awakening or your NDE or your spiritual transformative experiences, or you start channeling exalted wisdom from the cosmos, we still have fearful thoughts, right? We still go, ooh, I wonder if I get it right. I wonder if people will like me. I wonder if people will accept what I'm saying. I work with a lot of people that have come here to work as spiritual teachers, or I call them the New Age teachers, the difference makers, the people that listen to my shows. And, I get them mobilized. I get them out there. You've got something to say? Get out there and say it. Do some YouTube channels, YouTube videos, start a podcast, start a group, speak what you're channeling, speak what you're getting, speak your knowledge, speak your remembering, speak it, tell people, share it. And then there's fear that arises, right? I've experienced a lot of it. Even doing these videos, I put them off. Not that I'm scared of them, but I'm like, I'd rather have a chat with somebody else on the show. I just love talking to people. So I put them off. And then when people don't show up for the shows, like today, and I've kind of got the lights, camera, action happening, I think, right, get on here and start talking. But those fears arise. And as they arise, we need to deal with them in the moment, because all fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is we're infinite intelligence connected to infinite creative potential. We can create and be and do anything we want in our world, and fear stops us. There are some fears which are guidance. If some disaster is about to happen, you might be scared to go somewhere and then realize that a disaster happened, so you don't do it. And they fly on a plane and the plane crashes or something. It might not be as much of a fear as a knowing that feels like fear. You have to distinguish what's a knowing and what is fear that we're experiencing, because you might have this sort of awful feeling, a feeling of doom or something that is guiding you, and you think, no, I don't want to do that, and then the plane crashes or something happens like that. And that is guidance. That is not false evidence appearing real. That's just a vibration that's speaking to us that we're identifying as some sort of fear or dread. But we need to communicate with our thoughts or with our feelings. What are you showing me? Because all our emotions are guidance, all of them, be it dread or be it love, they're all guiding us in our world. They're all communicating something to us. And so when we have bad emotion, we can look at it like, why do I feel so bad? I did this a few years ago. I've spoken about it on the show many times. I hadn't experienced a lot of fear or dread for a long time. And then my girls that I went to school with, some of them, not all of them, just a handful of girls, decided they didn't want to hang out with me because I'm too alternative and it like interferes in their worldview. And so it's just easier if I don't come out with them anymore. And I felt really bad about that. And then I thought about it, like, why do I feel so bad? So I started to explore it. It's not what they were doing to me. They have the right to do that. They have the right to live their life, however they want to live their life. And I love and adore them. And I speak to many of them still now today. But I hit this really sort of awful feeling inside myself, and I explored it. And as I explored it,
I found a belief that I was still holding as my truth. And then when I found that belief, like I'm alone, I'm an outcast, I'm not included, you know, we all have that fear of not being included, being an outcast. I looked at it and dealt with it. Is it true? No, it's not true. It's so not true. Why would I believe that lie when it's actually not the truth of my experience? Okay, a handful of girls I went to school with didn't want to have dinner with me, but then there were thousands of people that did. So am I alone? No, we can never be alone. So that feeling of loneliness or being alone or an outcast, it's all based in fear. It's all based in a lie, false evidence appearing real. And when we feel those emotions, it's only then that we can really tap in to the belief system that's attached to the emotion that we're believing to be our truth. And we have at that moment a choice to believe that or change it, and change it to the truth of who we are. We are never alone. God, I'm never alone. I'm alone a lot. All day I live alone, but I'm never alone. I've got the mob with me the whole time. And then I'm usually online speaking with people, or my neighbour next door, or the neighbour on the other side, or I go out for a walk and I talk to half the people in the street and the people in the shops. Like, I'm never alone, ever alone. We can never be alone, even when we're alone. We're always as a mob connected to us. We're all connected. We're all one. We're all one energy. So what was the topic of this talk? Ascension. What is ascension? Yeah, we're ascending into a new way of thinking and believing on a collective level. And for those people who don't want to participate in that ascension, they'll leave and they'll go somewhere else where they can participate in more fear-based thoughts and have the same experiences that we've had on Earth for generations. But we are moving, and we're moving rapidly, and we're at this precipice right now, this melting pot, this decision-making time of moving from an old fear-based society into a society that is based in love and connection and unity consciousness. This is Ascension. What do you think Ascension is? Let me know in the comments or send me an email. Thanks again for listening and watching, and please share and like the shows and subscribe if you're having a good time, and share the shows with your friends, and check me out on other social media platforms, YouTube. Oh no, I'm on YouTube. Well, if you're listening to this on audio, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of them. I've joined up to all the other ones like BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey. These are video platforms, streaming platforms, and Telegram and Signal, and I'm just exploring all the alternative platforms. It's wonderful. I love it. So I'll leave a link for some of the platforms in the description below. Thanks again for tuning in. Love you big time. Bye for now.